Just want to quickly shout out all of our partners and thank them for the support. Enhanced CBD, Performance Box Supplements, Fortress Fightwear, Boca Jewelry, and Core Hand Wraps. We really thank you for the support. We've got codes and links to all of them, and we'll post them with the episode link.
I got so much motherfucking design on.
Break it down, bring it back, make it clap. 3 old thoughts, new guap. That thing, bitches on my line.
Hello and welcome back to Super Necessary. Today, I'm delighted to say that joining us is current UFC middleweight, the action man, Chris Curtis. How you doing, Chris?
What's
you okay?
up? Yeah, what's up, guys?
Thanks very much for joining us, mate.
Oh, no, I'm glad to be here.
So to start then, firstly, congrats on that huge win last weekend. You know, it's a first round knockout over a very game and dangerous Phil Hawes. For you, did the fight go as you planned?
Yes and no. I definitely planned on being more of the aggressor, but like by 45 seconds in, I'm like, man, he's a lot bigger than me. I was like, all right. Yeah, about 45 seconds in, I was like, man, he's just bigger than me. He's stronger than me, and apparently he's faster than me too. And I was like, all right, well, you're immediately going to not going heads up with him. I was like, I can beat him standing. I'll pressure him, make him do too much. And I was like, holy shit, that was a bad plan. And we're going to do a new plan now because, my God, the first 2 combos I threw, he punched through. And I was like, nope, this isn't a thing now. Like, now we're doing something else.
So you actually put yourself forward to fight Phil a few weeks earlier, I believe. And he didn't want to fight you on short notice. Did that help you in your preparation for the fight at all? Knowing that he was, I suppose, worried about what you were going to bring to the dance?
No, I didn't. That was my 35th fight. I didn't care. It's funny though, because like later he's like, oh, I wanted to study him and I wanted him to watch my video and study me. Like I watched we watched his tapes twice. Like the first time we announced it, I never went back to it. He's like, I want them to watch my Instagram and see me train. I was like, bro, I've never been on your Instagram ever. Like I don't care. Like no, I'm like, okay. I'm like, you're big and you wrestle. Like, I got it. Like, it's funny to me. Because he's like, it probably would have been better off had he taken that fight because I actually got rocked the day before that. The day they called me, I got rocked in practice. This crazy little Brazilian kid just blasted me out of nowhere. And, it's like the first round of sparring, everybody has that, like, the unspoken, like, first round, kind of go calm and warm up. He just like, go, bam. So he actually rocked me pretty hard. I was like, oh, shit. So, that probably would have been better for him. But, like, nothing changed for me. I train 7 days a week, year round. I don't take time off. So I'm like, okay, well, I was already in shape. I'm always in shape. Like, I can do 10 rounds any day of the week without really breaking, without really having to do anything special. So, dumb call on his part, but whatever.
What did you take from that little footage that you did watch of him? Did you take anything from that at all, or was it just not much?
No, like I said, this is my 35th fight. I have fought bigger, stronger wrestlers multiple times. We're like, okay, we watched footage. We're like, he's not going to throw like spinning back kicks and like cartwheel kicks. Like, okay, he's got, he strikes. His striking is getting better, and he wrestles. All he only took away from it, he's not a single leg guy. He likes that blast double, or he'll do that quick single to head outside. And like that's it. Like I'm not gonna spend too much time at this point in my career focusing on like what each guy does, unless there's something in there that like you're not used to seeing. Outside of that, like we fought wrestlers, many, many, many times in my career. I'm at a gym now to where, I've done nothing but focus on wrestling for the last year and a half. Like, okay, like fine. Like he's good, but we've beaten wrestlers before. We fought good wrestlers before.
Yeah.
I'm not going to worry so much about him. Just make sure I don't fuck up. Like, I can't really take into account what he's going to do. He'll come out and apparently be a kickboxer Phil Hawes, which we hadn't taken into account. Like, yeah. I was like, all right, this is new. I was like, oh, that's fine. Like, great.
So obviously, a lot of people, you can be honest, a lot of people had Phil winning this before the bell even rung. Like, does it faze you at all when you consider the underdog, or is that something you thrive off?
Once again, man, like I'm so far into this sport, I just don't care. Like Phil's gonna win, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And like, people who don't know will go with the known quantity. And like Phil's their known quantity. They've seen him fight before. But I'm like, bro, I fought. No, nothing against Phil, whatever. Despite what he said. He's got potential. He'll go far. But I fought better people already. I said in the interview before that I'm the best guy he's ever fought, not the other way around. And like, if you want to bet on him, fine. People like, oh, bet the house on Phil. Then I'm getting all these messages like, hey man, you lost me money. Can you wire me money? Like, no, I hope you're broke. Like, that's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. You've made the decision to bet on this man and bet against me. Fend for yourself, innit?
I'm like, hit Phil Davis up for money. Like, bet against me. What world is a Phil Hawes? What world is this? Where like you bet against me, now you're like, hey man, can you reimburse me? Like, what?
People are mad, mate. That's absolutely crazy.
Oh, it's crazy. It's absolutely hilarious.
I don't think these people understand how betting works.
Yeah, right? I'm like, how do you bet? Like, you could potentially make an argument if I was Phil Hawes and you're like, oh, you're such a massive favorite and you shit the bed. But then, like, to bet against me and then lose your money, like, hey, man, you pay me back. Like, what? You didn't believe in me to begin with. Why would I help you? No.
I've got to say, though, like, one person that always had your back was my missus. She was like, Chris is going to do it. He's going to take out Phil. And yeah, she absolutely went mad when you won. We laughed.
Tell her I said thank you. You are phenomenal, and I wish you nothing but sunshine and rainbows.
I'll show her this, and she'll be happy with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you finally made it to the UFC debut, Madison Square Garden, first round knockout. Madison Square Garden, obviously, arguably the most important fighting venue in the world. Does it get any better than that?
I mean, no, it doesn't. I came from boxing, man. So like your first round knockdown on MSG is freaking awesome. Like that's like shit. Well, I mean, hats off to Phil Hawes for saying no to the fight the first time. He got us on MSG.
Every cloud has a silver lining, and that's yours.
I mean, it's freaking great too. Like it's honestly the best card of the year, like so far. So I got my first round knockout against a highly talented guy who was, they're talking about should have been a top 15 already. First round, Madison Square Garden. I'm like, what? That couldn't have gone any better, actually. I'm like, I'll take it.
Yeah, a lot of great moments on that card, like, wasn't it?
The entire card was absolutely insane. Like from like top to bottom, that's probably the best card of the year. So like, what a fucking weekend.
Yeah, definitely, mate. So I was, as you mentioned, that was your 34th fight, I believe. So you've been fighting for 13 years, and in 2018 you fought and won on the Contender Series, but wasn't offered the contract. For you, at that point, was you thinking you would ever still make it to the UFC, or did your confidence never fade at that point?
No, man, it made me walk away from the sport for a little bit. I thought I was done. I was like, even by 2018, I still had a pretty big record. It's like 18-5 or something like that from that fight. That's a pretty big record already. I've been fighting for a long time and like nothing. And then I get a highlight reel knockout in front of the boss. And he doesn't, just you're not impressed. I'm like, what do I have to do, man? Like, so that was like the first. I've been frustrated before that because I know people who I beat up have been given chances, and like whatever people I beat have been there, never get the shot. Then to go perform, and like I broke my hand. The first punch I threw in that fight broke my hand. So I was like, okay. So yeah, very first punch I landed broke my hand, and then before that, I tore my groin the week before that fight. Yeah. So I went in there hurt, performed, got the win, highlight wheel in, didn't get it. Like, dude, that does shake your confidence. Like, what? I pulled out all the stops, didn't get it. So that was the first time I was like, man, maybe this isn't going to happen. Like, it's rough.
I would imagine Dana wasn't aware that you'd went through all that, like, injuring your groin, messing your hand up, and with the first punch I'm guessing you weren't aware of any of that.
I went to the hospital directly after the fight, but like, it's just, apparently I took too long to knock him out. So, it was when he was on his really big kick of like, I want all first round knockouts. But since then, he's definitely loosened the requirements of like what he's looking for. So
Yeah.
At least you finally give him that first round KO.
Yeah, right. It's just like my entire life has been a story of bad timing, and it's just more bad timing. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to get back into it after walking away for a little bit?
I was gonna be done, and then I got a PFL offer, and I was more so just like, it's a shot at $1 million. I was like, man, that's a little different because it's $1 million fucking dollars.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was like, I still like wanted to be a UFC fighter, and I was kind of hesitant about PFL because I was like, if I go on here, and the thought was in the back of my head was, if I go on here and I mess up, I'll never get in the UFC if I watch out of PFL. And lo and behold, I end up shitting the bed in PFL, and then I'm like, oh my god, the dream is dead. Like I shot myself in the foot. Like, what were you thinking doing a freaking tournament? Like, oh my god, and like. After that, I would say, I'm done. Like, after PFL, I was like, well, I screwed myself. I'm never going to get in. Like, I'm done. Everybody's like, oh, go to Bellator. I was like, I don't want to be a Bellator fighter. I started wanting to be a UFC fighter. I didn't want to be a Bellator or PFL fighter. My goal was to be a UFC fighter.
Yeah.
So after that, I was like, well, I guess that's it. And then my son's like, well, what the hell else are you going to do? Because, like, I had my first MMA fight about 2 weeks after my son was born. And his entire life, he's grown up with me being a fighter. So he's just like, okay, well, I'm proud of you, but what are you going to do? And I was like, I don't know, get a regular job. He's like, doing what? I don't know. Like, he's just like, well, like, he couldn't wrap his head around it. He's like, well, this is all you do. Like, I don't really get it. So I'm like, you know what? Like, he's kind of right. He's like, what else are you going to do? I'm like, I don't fucking know, man. I thought I'd get a better response. Like, oh, yeah, dad's going to quit and be, come home. And he's just like, no. He's just like, nah. He's like, what are you going to do? I don't get it. He was like, all right, well, now I'm getting like berated by a 12-year-old.
And I'll just go back to the gym then. It's all right.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. I'm just like, he was not as enthused as I thought he'd be about this, about like, dad retiring. He's like, well, what are you gonna do? I'm like, I don't know. I don't need this from you. You're like 12 or 13, right?
Don't you lecture me.
Yeah, right. No, he said it was like a very humbling moment. He's like, what are you gonna do? I'm like, all right, well, now I feel like a bum. Thanks, buddy.
Hey, if it works, it's we get to enjoy seeing you fighting some more. So all the credit goes to him.
Yeah. He was in his infinite, like at the time, like 12, 13-year-old wisdom. Yeah, he was right. Like, so that's up to him.
So one thing I've got to ask you, Chris, your victory pose. Now, I'm a pro wrestling fan myself.
It is stolen. It is.
Is it? Yeah, Randy Orton. That's what I thought.
I started doing it about 3 or 4 years ago, just because I'm like, you know what? That's how you celebrate, man. It's just like something like, what? I'm like, dude, look, like, what does it mean? I'm like, bro, it means look at me. Like, look at what I did. Like, this is great. Like, so I love it, man. So I did lift it from him. I've also lifted RBD's walkout song a few times. So yeah.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's like look at me. Well,
look at me. Look at what I've done.
Exactly. I'm the star. Look at me.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like, I'm a star. Look at me. Like, look at what I've done.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Nah, you gotta have some like flair and like belief in yourself, and you gotta make it fun. If you're not having fun, then you won't care, and people won't care. So you gotta have fun with it.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
So one looked at your record and that, and one name that sticks out on your extensive record is Bilal Muhammad. Now, your fight at middleweight, obviously he's at welterweight, but if that fight was to ever come up, say a pullout or something, is that something you would still entertain, or would you?
Yeah, so here's one thing. I'm actually a welterweight. I took this fight a weight class up. I am in a welterweight my entire career for the most part. Bilal is one of those few fights where I was like he won the fight fair and square, but it was just everything that could have gone wrong going into that fight went wrong. So you can't make excuses for it, which is one of those fights where I'm just like, oh my God, like this is the only time in my career I was fighting. I remember warming up for that fight. It's the only time in my career I didn't actually want to fight. I was like, I want to go home. I don't want to do this. I'm not in the mood. Like I remember it was the first time I was warming up. I was like, I don't want to be here right now. I've never felt that way since, but it was just not a great lead up to that. And hats off to him, man. He's gotten so much better. He's had a fucking great career. He's done well. That's one of those ones I jump on. I love Bilal. I would fucking train with him. That's one of those ones, like win, lose, or draw. Like I want to have a better showing than what happened there, because like I was so much better than that then, and we're both better now. But it's just like, one of those ones that like we perform so badly it sticks with you for years.
Yeah.
One of those moments of bad timing again, was it?
It's just, oh man, I mean, it really, sadly, like at that fight, like, so it really was bad timing. That fight came up. I just left my longtime gym. I was like at a new gym. This is like my first fight at a new gym, only like 3 weeks into that gym. And just like my training partners were changed, my coaches changed. Like, so I'm freaking out about that. So I'm trying to like do more to make up, because like, you know, like I'm doing more cardio and other stuff because like my partners are changed. I feel like I'm not doing the same amount that I was. So I changed everything, and it was just the incorrect answer.
So as you mentioned, you were previously fighting in PFL. Is there any sort of notable differences or similarities between the setup of PFL and UFC?
Yeah, fuck that tournament format. Like seriously, oh man, that is bad. Like, so I'm a fairly big welterweight, and I walk around at 195 pounds now, but I was like walking around 200 pounds for that. So the first fight, being down to 170 was fine, and then having to like maintain a lower weight. So like I think I maintained like 188, 190 for that tournament. And people were just looking at me like, are you sick? Like, are you okay? I was tired. I was dead tired all the time. I was miserable. I was like constantly getting sick. Like I can't maintain that low of a weight for that long. It's just, I'm too big. I'm getting older now. I'm too big of a human being to do that. And like that tournament format sucks. Like, man, like it's so hard on my body. Like, you know, hats off to Magomed and Ray Cooper for me able to do it back to back to back. But like my body at 35, man, my body, you know, in my 30s, my body can't do that anymore. Maybe when I was younger, it could have been easier. But in my 30s, that was not a good time. And like, oh man, that sucked. Like, yeah, God, that's so bad.
Yeah, it is. It's obviously with like UFC starting like that in a tournament format, it's mad to see it's still going in organizations and people are doing it, you know.
When I started MMA, man, it was like the Wild West, especially like out in the Midwest. So there's times I fought twice in a night. I fought 3 times in a night. I fought back to back. I fought Friday, and then I fought Saturday as an amateur. Like stuff like that was common. But I was also like 21. Like at 32 in my 30s, like it's not a thing anymore. Like it's definitely not a thing anymore.
Did you ever go out back and like change your shorts and introduce you to someone else? Was it anything like that?
Oh, dude, they're like I'm telling you, man. I remember as an amateur fight where I won my first amateur belt. So I'm like, I'm like in the crowd drinking. My first is at 85. So I'm in the crowd, I'm drinking and stuff, and then they're like, oh, the 205 title challenger pulled out. And I was like, I'll do that one. So I went and won a 205. I've been drinking, mind you. I hop up, I go change again, I win a 205 belt. And like, mind you, I am belligerently drunk at this point. Like, the fact they let me fight, I was like, this is looking back on it. I was like, my God, we were just out here straight Wild West. So, like, I mean, it used to be a lot different.
Zinc probably helped. You probably couldn't feel any of the punches.
I don't remember most of that fight. I was just like, I don't even like, man, you guys really let me fight drunk. I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
That's mad, that's that. So, you know, you mentioned about the change of gyms there. You fight at Extreme Couture now. What's it like? Do you get to train with Couture? Is he still in training and not like just giving himself in shape?
Randy pops up. He's usually he works out a lot. He keeps himself in shape. He doesn't train as much as he did before. He will pop in from time to time. So Randy's not doing as much. But I mean, on the flip side, I've got probably the biggest collection of like UFC guys and like legends of the sport there. Like it's absolutely insane the people running around there. Like you got Strickland, Sean Strickland, Brad Tavares, Francis is always there. You got Jake Shields as a coach, Mason Manley as a coach, Eric Nipsick, coach of the year, is there. Albert Durev just got in the UFC, freaking monster. He's there. Comes out, pops in and out. Like you got just an insane Elias Theodoros in town right now. There's just a crazy, crazy, crazy amount of talent there at all times.
Do you still get the legends coming in like Griffin and Martin Kampman and stuff? Do they still pop in? Or?
Forrest is full popping everywhere. Forrest pops in everywhere in Vegas, which is crazy. Jay Hiran is there pretty regularly, which is great. Like it's you end up getting to work with Jake Ellenberger's there all the time. So you got so many coaches and so much knowledge and training partners. Like it's freaking amazing for me. Like it's exactly what I needed.
Yeah. Sounds great, that like.
Well, as you mentioned there, some of the names: Brad Tavares, Francis Ngannou. Obviously, Ryan Bader is associated with the gym. Misha Tate, the list is ongoing. We could be here forever.
It is insane, yeah.
But it must fill you with so much confidence knowing that you've got the highest caliber of trainers and training partners to work with.
It's the greatest thing in the world is that I got some of the best guys in the world to work with, and then B, when you're in that room and I belong in that room. I can give as well as I can give it as well as I take it, and to know that you belong in that room means I'm one of the best guys in the world. Like I'm in the room with some of the best guys in the world, and I am in that conversation. I'm in those rounds, and like that means I'm one of the best guys in the world. I just got to perform up to it, but like it definitely changes your confidence knowing like that's my level.
Yeah. Imagine
it's an incredible mindset.
Yeah, definitely. So you said before that like you have a love of fighting. I think you mentioned on the MMA hour that your parents were like a doctor and it was a nurse and you veered into fighting. So I'm wondering, what was you like growing up?
Man, so my mom just got her PhD in nursing, and my father's a doctor. My brother is a pharmacist. My sister owns a business. She was in school for law. But like growing up, I was, like in that weird age and like probably around like 5th or 6th grade where every kid's on the playground playing football and stuff. I was playing Power Rangers and Street Fighter by myself for like up until like middle school. Like I was just like, all I've ever wanted to do was fight. All I've ever cared about was fighting. Like, I would play other sports, but it always just about fighting. Like, it's all I've ever, I grew up on. I probably blame, Street Fighter, Virtual Fighter, Tekken, and Streets of Rage, where I was just like, man, fighting is really cool. So then I just never stopped, doing it, and then it's just all I've ever cared about. Like, I was a kid who was always, fighting people. And I was that weird kid, too, because, I'd be on, recess doing, karate. And then, what are you doing? Out there, they always played football. I'm out here practicing karate in the back. They're like, what is wrong? What is wrong with you? That's just who I was, man. All I ever cared about was fighting. So, it was that weird kid, but it paid off.
Was you one of those kids that put your tie around your head and then start?
I was definitely that kid. So, I wasn't even just that kid. I was that kid up until I was 20. So, nice. But I remember, when I was 18. Some guys tried to jump me and 2 friends of mine. And at 18 walking around, I had blonde hair too. So I was the only black kid in a semi-shitty area with blonde hair and on a skateboard. So I remember some guys tried to jump us. And I used to carry a karate gi in a backpack. I was that guy, man. I was that guy. I had a karate gi in my backpack. I had boxing gloves in a backpack. But I was whatever way he wanted to fight, I had gear for it. And I was just that kid, man. I'm let me switch outfits.
Yeah. Let me get in the zone first before we start.
I did it before though. Oh my God, it's absolutely insane. I am a reason why they say you should limit your kids' video game time. I'm telling you, man. No one checked my video game usage, and I absolutely went off the deep end. You know what? Played Tekken for a long time. Tekken 3 when I was you know what? This is what I'll do as an adult.
Yeah, go into full-time gaming instead of fighting.
Yeah, I was you know what? I was playing Tekken 3. Is you know what? And you're 15, 14, or 12 when it came out. Yeah. And I'm not understanding at the time there's probably not a worldwide martial arts tournament that happens around the world. But I'm just you know what? I'll be one of these guys for as an adult. I go around fighting people. Not how it works, but that's what started the course.
It must have been mad playing those games, seeing all these crazy moves, and then you're on a card with someone like Chris Barnett who pulls off that spinning heel
Yeah,
kick. You know
that makes
what
me hate myself. I was like, oh, I should have invested in Taekwondo. Like, fuck. So definitely gonna start working on that. Like, Chris Barnett can do it, I can do it. Like, I refuse to believe I can't do that.
well, to him, mentally, he's at your weight, so
Yeah, right. So mentally, I got to be a 35er. Like, all right, that's fine. But you can't convince me I can't do it. So, like, yeah, I should have invested in Taekwondo, but whatever, we'll work on
it. So, like we said, you were recently on Ariel's show, the MMA Hour, and you revealed that you had adopted. Just in general, how was being a father? Obviously, you know, you said your son's a bit older now, but how has being a father changed you as a man?
Here's the thing. Like, when I'm like, oh, hey, mom, I'm adopting a kid. She's like, what is wrong with you? Like, what are you doing? But now my mom absolutely loves him. Like, she adores him. And she's trying to get used to being called grandma. But even my mother will say he was the best choice I ever made, because I was definitely rudderless for a long time. I was just out there doing whatever, following my like kung fu journey. Weird and angsty teenager. But like, I don't know, like being dad, like, which is honestly, it's kind of weird looking back on it. There should be like a test about like having children, because my God, I had no idea what I was doing. Like, we had no idea what we were doing. And like, testament to kids being very durable, like, you know, resilient things, because looking back on it, when he was like a newborn, I had no idea what the hell I was doing. But on the flip side, man, like, it definitely calmed me down. It definitely made me like a more patient, like caring human being. And you know, it gives, being a father gives, a parent in general, gives gravity to your situation, to where you realize, like, you know, I can't just walk away from stuff. I can't just quit stuff, because A, he's watching, and B, like, he depends on me to succeed. So it definitely, man, it's weird. It's a different type of pressure, but at the same time, like, you know, I'm that kid's hero. Like, it's the greatest feeling in the world. It's probably the best decision I've ever made, the best rash decision I've ever made.
Yeah, they kind of make you reevaluate your whole life and look at, you know, your, what should we call them, your weaknesses, and that, you know, you try and make yourself better, so when they look at you, like, if you, it's mad.
That's exactly it, man. It's exactly it. Because even now, like, as I make mistakes in my life, like, there's some things, you know, you want to walk past, whatever, like, blah, blah, blah. But now, you know, as I get older, I have to stop and think about the mistakes that I make. And I'm like, well, he sees this.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes you regret, because you look back at things you've done in the past, and you're like, he watched me make these mistakes. And, you know, think about it at the time, but like, you start to realize, like, the man that he's going to be is shaped by the things he's seen me do. So you start regretting all those things you did before, that, like, you know, like, I could have been a better man here, or here. So it really makes you focus on, like, trying to be a better form of you, because like, everything I do will play a part in shaping who we become in the future. And like, you always want to be better than your parents. So like, you actively start working on finding ways to be a better man, a better human, a better father, a better friend, you know, better spouse, whatever, because he's seeing that. Like, that's how he's building who he is. So it definitely changes a lot about like the actions you take, the things you do, like your behavior. It changes you at your core.
Yeah, it's mad how much change, and can relate to what you were saying about them being, you know, quite resilient. Like, I think when I first held my little lad, I was like, am I going to hurt him? You know what I mean? You just think you're going to hurt him, don't you? But
bro, at one point, I was holding him, and I fell down a flight of stairs, and I fell. I tripped, and then I like caught him as he was falling. And I'm like freaking out, like, oh my God. He's like not like a year old. He's looking at me like, are you good? I'm looking at him like, are you good? I'm holding him. I'm like, oh my God, that was crazy. And he's just like wide-eyed looking at me like, what the hell just happened, man? Their resilience is amazing.
See, I've done that. I didn't have all the baby, but I fell down the stairs, and I'm like that, oh, you know, shocked. And then he's been looking through the banisters like, you're an idiot, and then just thinking either way in his little stroller. You know what I mean? It's funny.
Yeah, I watched him take some horrific tumbles. I watched our house cat. So our house cat kicked him down the first flight of stairs on the landing. He was like walking down the stairs and he pulled the cat's tail and the cat just Sparta kicked him and he tumbles down like a quarter flight of stairs, hits the landing, and he's just on his back. He didn't cry. He didn't cry. He's just like confused, like what just happened?
Yeah.
The cat walks by him, like watch yourself. I'm just like, oh my god.
At first, there's this shock and like you're okay, and then you sort of laugh after it. You know?
I think he was more offended. The cat kicked him down the flight of stairs.
I was only stroking him. I was like, hit me.
Yeah, but bro, don't fuck with the cat, man.
Did you take any tips from the cat about kicking after that?
bro, we just left that cat alone. That cat was just not in the mood. Like, bro, like, all right, really, leave the cat alone, man. Cat never scratched him, bro. Watch that. So the cat never scratched him, ever. Never once scratched him. But that cat kicked the shit out of that kid. we were shocked. Like, you can't be really too mad. He never used his claws, never scratched him. But I've watched that cat like drop kick that kid. Like, if he was doing something, the cat got a running start, put both paws in his face. I was like, damn.
I reckon that the cat sort of done it on the slide. I mean, these won't notice. They won't think I'm doing anything. You know?
It's the cat's like, I didn't scratch him. I was like, all right, well played, cat. Well played.
I think you need the cat in your corner next fight.
Bro, that cat joined a street gang and like ran away one day. Like, joined a cat street gang. I saw him with like running down the street one day with like 15 other cats. Never saw him again. I was like, all right, like.
It's gonna come back one day with like a cut off leather jacket and a switchblade.
No, hey man, right? Like cats for the streets. I'm like, all right, I'm hopefully they're like a greaser gang. It would be a very good gang.
So moving on, then, thank you for that. That was brilliant, mate. So this year you had an aim to fight 10 times. Maybe not 10 times, but is the aim sort of similar going, for the next year to be as active as you can?
Yeah, honestly, man, yeah. Like I'm 34 right now, man. I'm 35 in July. I'm getting this shot later in my career, man. To 34 is your prime, 35 is your prime. So I'm at my best years. I'm stronger now than I've ever been. I'm better now as a fighter than I've ever been. I don't have time to dance around and wait and whatnot. So honestly, I asked to fight this weekend. They asked about Kyle Dawkins. And I was like, yeah, I'll fight. But New York gives you a 7-day suspension that they won't lift. I couldn't do that. But they also asked me to fight December 11th against Andre Muniz, top 15 guy. And I was like, I'll do it. Let's go. But they gave it to somebody whose fight fell off. But like, I'm still trying to stay busy. I would have fought both of them if they let me. So I'm just trying to keep it going. I'm healthy. I've never had like serious like knee injuries and stuff, knock on wood. So why not keep it rolling as fast as possible? I train 7 days a week. I've had probably 2 weeks off in 8 years. Outside of like one other injury where I broke my hand, I was kind of off for a little bit. But outside of that, I've had 2 weeks total off in like 8 years, man. I train full time. I don't stop. So I'm always in shape. I'm always pretty ready. I can take an 85 fight on, 24 hours notice, or I can take a 70 fight with 4 weeks notice. So book me, or if somebody falls out, throw me in. But I want to get as much in as I can. I'm trying to burn through these contracts as fast as possible.
That's an incredible work ethic you've got, mate.
I've always said, man, like, and people ask about, maybe with the fight with Phil. I'm like, look, guys, I'm not. They're like, oh, were you worried when he was coming out strong? Like, I've never been the strongest. I've never been the fastest. I've never been the most talented. I've never been the best at, like physically gifted. That's not my talent. That's not my skill. I tell people, I'm like, my genius is my genius is work, man. I'm a genius of hard work. I will work more than anybody else. I work harder than anybody else. I'm the guy that I get up at 7 or 8 in the morning. My training stops at about 8 p.m. at night, sometimes 9. I do more than anybody else. And like that's my genius is. I may not be the best, but in any one area, but I will work you to the bone, and I will work myself to the bone because that's where my strength is. So I've never been afraid to grind. I've been grinding for fucking the last 10 years as a pro without any recognition for it. Like, but it's not going to stop now. That's my power, is like, you can be better than me here, but I'm going to do more than you.
Yeah, sometimes that's the difference as well. Like working harder, you know, sometimes that can be the difference, you know, putting that extra work in. When I fought Phil, man, he said, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, how do you feel? I said, look, he's a better athlete than me for sure. He's bigger than me. He's going to be stronger. Wasn't expecting to be faster than me, but hey, you know, shit happens. But I told him, man, like, the biggest thing, like, what's the difference? I said, I'm a bigger dog than Phil is. I'm a bigger dog than most people, because you're not going to make – I've been here for a long time, 35 fights. You're not going to make me panic. You're not going to make me scared. And I promise you, but I'm going to bite down and fight harder than you can. Yeah, definitely, mate.
So is that a mindset that comes from excuse me, sorry, just is that a mindset that comes from the gym? Obviously, before you come on here, we were watching your training partner and friend Cynthia fight, and he said about her, she'd fought late September and she just wanted to fight again. Is that just something that comes from the gym, or is that your individual mindset?
For me, I mean, it's definitely something I've always had to, like, I've had this mindset. I've been training like this for years. So for me, that's just how I am. But at the same time, it's nice to be in a gym. Extreme Couture breeds that mindset to where, you know, we, for the most part, most of those guys in there are there every single day. Like, Cynthia fought her last fight, and she was back in the gym going. Like, she works hard, man. Like, the girl works hard. It's a gym of a lot of guys who grind day in and day out. So it's how I've been for a long time, but it's nice to be around like-minded people, you know?
Yeah, it's inspiring, mate.
So with this then, you've now been on Super Necessary. You've been on the MMA Hour. All you need now is the Joe Rogan experience, and you've completed the Ultimate Treble.
Right, I got it. That's all it is. I got to get the Joe Rogan experience now. So I'm gonna start like tweet bombing Joe Rogan. But you know, the thing, I'll take it. I get to talk to Joe Rogan, and having him say, "You're welcome to the UFC," was the greatest feeling in the world. Next to Bruce Buffer, which is also the greatest feeling in the world.
Yeah, having him on
That's it. You've ticked off about 4 things off your bucket list in one night.
Bro, right? I got MSG knockout, a first round knockout, Bruce Buffer call out, Joe Rogan interview. I was like, man, this is a really great. I cleaned my bucket list out for the most part. This is great.
Living the dream, mate, aren't you?
Yeah, it's been a nightmare for a while, but we're getting to the dream stage finally.
Better late than never.
Yeah, right. And I'll take it. Which was, I'll say at this point, I've earned it a few times over, so I'm going to take it and enjoy it and get back to work. But I'm definitely enjoying the moment.
You deserve every bit of it, mate. So, look, want to thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Oh, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
It's been absolutely brilliant, and we can't wait to see you back in the octagon, and we know you're going to rise up them rankings fast.
That's the plan, man. I'm just trying to get paid and have fun and do cool shit.
Love it. Thanks very much, Chris.
Thank you guys for having me, man. I appreciate it. Take care.
Take it easy, mate.
Later, guys.